You're watching the Battered Fans Network. You're watching the Battered Fans Network.
Solana, the Herons are back again. Welcome again to episode number 208, maybe 209, I guess, maybe, I don't know. The Battered Herons podcast. We had some technical difficulties there with Chris. Instead of just closing out, he ended the episode. But we are back, and I guess let's get rolling.
I mean, he felt so disrespected. He just ended the show. Like, I didn't get it, man. Like you got him so heated, Danny. You got him so heated. He was upset. He was like, "F this. I'm ending the show. See ya."
Yeah. So definitely, I already saw somebody commented shortest show ever. Yes, that was a very short show. But yes, Chris accidentally ended the stream. We apologize for that. But we're back. So what was I going to? Oh yeah, I remember what I was saying when we got cut off. Yesterday we were previewing the Charlotte show, and we had Danny Brams on from Charlotte Soccer Show, and Solana reminded me at nighttime that I didn't ask him about the turf because they are going to host the Copa America semifinal game next Saturday. So they're going to have natural grass for that game. But we weren't sure if it's going to be installed for tomorrow or they're going to wait until after tomorrow to put in the natural grass. Well, I messaged him. He didn't hit me back up right away. He hit me up later after our Spanish show was over. They will be playing on turf tomorrow.
So Chris can bring us back some turf. Love it.
Yes. So because they will be playing on turf tomorrow, that does raise some questions. One of them being Ian effing Frey. Ian Frey has played 2 incredible games since he's been back. Ian Frey is also coming off of 3 ACL injuries, and he hasn't played a full 90 yet. I'll start by asking you, Solana. Do you think there's any chance we see Ian Frey out there tomorrow? And second question, if it was up to you, would you put him out there?
I think it's all going to depend on how Chelo Wigan has evolved over the last couple of weeks. We know that he was dealing with some sort of muscle issue. I think it was a hamstring. And I know he was upgraded to questionable on the injury report over the weekend. Now, has he gotten better to at least give Inter Miami 60 minutes, 70 minutes? I don't know. If the answer is no, I think you have to stick with Frey. He's been phenomenal over the last couple games. And worst case, you can give Frey 55, 60 minutes. You know where they're going to be strong minutes and always put in David Ruiz to manage the last 15, 20 if you need, or even 30, because he's shown that he can do that. I think the important part is starting off strong, which Inter Miami has shown that they are able to do that over the last couple games without Messi and Suarez. And if they start out strong, I think that means Ian Frey has to be in the lineup.
But to that point, what you just brought up about David Ruiz, if it were up to me, I wouldn't play him. I don't care if Wigan is starting or not. With the history he has with his knees, with the 3rd ACL injury, if Wigan isn't ready to go, I'd put David Ruiz out there. He's played right back before. I'd put him out there. Hell, I'd put Robert Taylor out there at right back. He's played right back also. I would keep Ian Frey away from this game. And I would say not only because of the turf, which is a big reason, probably the biggest reason why, but there's another game on Saturday. This is a midweek game. He hasn't been able to play a full 90. Give him the extra rest. He's played very well, but I wouldn't risk any injury, whether it be for accumulation of games because it's so many, in a quick turnaround, 3 games in 7 days, and just because of the turf and his knees, I wouldn't play him at all. I would play Wigan if he's ready. If not, I'd play David Ruiz at right back. So that's what I would do.
Okay. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I'm also part of that philosophy where if it hasn't been, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. And he's been playing great. Now, I know I was the one to bring it up yesterday in terms of his knees. Yes. And I don't know, man. I'm so conflicted here because part of me says you got to trust the training staff, but then the other part is like, okay, the training staff has been close to garbage with all the injuries that Inter Miami has suffered. Now, they haven't been a lot of muscular injuries, but still, they've suffered a lot of injuries. So who do you trust here? Do you ask Ian, what he thinks? Do you trust Ian on, because I think Ian's going to want to play, or does Tata make the move and insert a David Ruiz? Do you maybe go to 5 in the back? which he's shown that he might do from times to times, and he was finally successful with it against Columbus a couple weeks ago. So there's so many variables between now and tomorrow, especially because of the turf. If we were playing on grass, I'd say expect Ian Frey to start, no doubt. The turf just makes me question so many things.
Uda Kmar is asking, is he injured? At the moment, he's not, but he has suffered 3 ACL injuries over the last 3 seasons. He just came back. He's only played 2 games so far. Or is he asking about Wagon? So I would keep him away. Now, if he's asking about Wagon, I think he has some type of muscular issues, and that's why he hasn't been with the team.
That's right. And now I want to bring one more thing up, Danny, because let's take it a step further. We're talking about Charlotte. We want to focus one game at a time. But Saturday's game against Cincinnati is also on turf. So you've got back-to-back games. It is. I just looked it up. It says that Cincinnati says
they play on turf?
Yep. I mean, it says right here, does Cincinnati play on artificial turf? It says the playing surface is artificial turf.
Oh, wow. No, that can't be right, because I've looked up which stadiums in the MLS are turf, and I've never seen Cincinnati. Maybe I'm forgetting.
I don't know. I'm double checking right now, but it looked like it was. But regardless, I mean, if it is turf, I mean, what do you do with 2 turf games? And hopefully, some of the folks in the chat can will chime in and let us know. Yeah. But from what I'm reading here, it does look like it might be like a combination of like that new turf or whatever system. It looks like, so it still is a little bit turfy, I mean, it's not natural grass. It's not what the guys play on.
It's a hybrid
at Chase Stadium. Right.
It's a hybrid. The only stadiums that are turf are Gillette Stadium, which is New England Revolution, the Sounders, which play in the Seattle Seahawks home, Charlotte, Vancouver, Atlanta, and Portland. Now, Portland's kind of weird because they have an MLS-specific stadium. They made that stadium for the Portland Timbers, so that's weird that they play on turf. But those are the only turf stadiums as far as what this is telling me online. So I don't think Cincinnati is. Now, there's other players that have come back from injury also, Diego Gomez and Redondo. Would you be worried about them as far as, the whole injury on turf?
I mean, in terms of Redondo, yes, because remember, the first injury he had was a knee injury. He had a sprained MCL or ACL, whatever, and he was out for a couple months. He came back. Second injury was muscular. I assume that's just because, they brought him back a little bit too early, or they had him play a little bit, too much too early. Now he's back. But do you want, and he played a decent amount last game. Do you want to risk injuring him again? I mean, you can see that his body probably can't handle it. So not even thinking about the turf, do you even want to risk, injuring him again, knowing that, his body probably can't take 2 games in a row right now. I don't know. But the good thing is Tata has a lot of interesting pieces to play with. I read Matias Rojas will not be back tomorrow. He might be back for Saturday. But Charlotte's missing a couple folks as well that are important important people, like Brandon Cambridge is going to be missing. So it's going to be an interesting game, and Tata has a lot of, like I said, a lot of really good tools at his disposal, especially with Tomas Aviles coming back from his yellow card suspension.
Well, that's for sure. My biggest worry is the turf. I understand it's a big game because at this moment, with the race that we have for, and I guess, again, when I say supporter shield, it's not because I give a crap about the actual supporter shield. I really don't give a crap about it, but it's because I do want home field for the playoffs. And Cincinnati is really the only threat we have at the moment for that. So I understand that winning tomorrow is big, but I think getting out of there healthy is more important. So I look, if there's anybody that's worried about playing on there, don't worry about it. We'll rest you, and that's how I feel about it. But if you want to hear more about the Charlotte game, we were joined by Danny Brams yesterday from Charlotte Soccer Talk, so you can go ahead and check that video out. We put that out yesterday. All right, so turf, Ian Frey. Next up, All Stars. Now, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but they announced the All Stars for the MLS. Now, obviously, no surprise to anybody. The 4 Barca boys are the All-Stars for Inter Miami. Now, a couple questions here. And the biggest one, I guess. Any chance that they actually play in this MLS game?
I mean, I highly doubt it. If they play, maybe it's to make an appearance, maybe the last 10 minutes or the first 5 or 10 minutes. But I really, really doubt it, especially if both teams, Argentina and Uruguay go deep in the tournament. If they were to finish, I think it puts 9 days in between the end of the Copa America and the All-Star
10 days.
game. 10
because
days, yeah.
the final for Copa America is July 14th and the All-Star game is July 24th.
Yeah. Again, if I think they're there because the MLS needs them there for marketing. Let's be honest. I don't think it's really anything else than that. I don't even think Suarez deserves to be an All-Star at this point. I think there's other forwards that probably deserve to go in front of him. I know I'm looking at the lineup right now. I see Benteke's in there, Bernadeschi's in there, Buwanga. I mean, again, I don't think they chose the best players. I think they just chose probably the most popular ones because they want the fans to pay as much money as possible. And they're playing Liga MX, of course. So here's another chance for the U.S. to say that they're better than Liga MX and Mexico, yet both of them got grouped at Copa America. So, I don't think that they're taking the best players. And I saw, the question in terms of who's going to be the captain between those four. Like, what's that about? Is that like a vote? You get to vote who gets to be the captain? That I don't know.
I guess. And I mean, if it's put up to a vote, Messi's going to win it. So I guess whoever's in second place is going to get it because I can't imagine Messi playing in this thing. Will he make an appearance? Maybe. I don't know. I can't imagine him playing in a final of Copa America and then 10 days later going to just randomly be involved in this All-Star game. But maybe he will. I can't imagine that. Now, Jordi Alba and Busquets, I think that's a little more likely. But I think Luis Suarez and Messi have an excuse as to why not to go. Right? They were in this tournament. They've been traveling. They want to rest up before Leagues Cup starts 3 days after. So I just don't see it.
I got a question. Do you think, now looking at the roster and understanding a little bit, because I was reading a little bit more in terms of how it's picked. So apparently 12 players are picked by fan vote. Then another 16 players are selected by Wilfred Nancy from the Columbus Crew because they're the defending champions. And then 2 players are selected by the commissioner. And I'm looking through the lineups, looking through the players. And one thing I'm looking at the goalies, and it's a little weird not to see Drake Callender in there. Roman Berkey got selected.
You really think that Drake deserves to be an All-Star right now? I think he has improved his play.
Over
I don't think he deserves to be an All-Star.
Over Hugo Lloris? Absolutely. Like, what has Hugo Lloris done this season? He's been great the last 3 games. He's a name. Wonderful.
He's that commissioner pick. He's a commissioner pick, like you said. Like, does it say who was the commissioner's pick? Because
Hugo Lloris was a coach's selection. Voted in was Martin Pace from FC Dallas. And I know we're getting really deep in here too in terms of who was selected and who was not, and that's not the idea of this. But it's just curious to see who was selected and who was voted in. I mean, really, really interesting to see. Obviously, all the normal guys were voted in. Ricky Puig and Jordi Alba. Darlington Nagbe was a commissioner's pick. So that's what I'm looking for, the 2 commissioners' picks. That was one. The other one was Hector Herrera. I am not surprised by that pick.
Mr. Krabs, I don't think we are Berkey 100% deserve. He's probably the best goalie in the league, like hands down. But what Solana's saying does ring true. Lloris just got there. Like, he doesn't deserve to be an All-Star, but he is the most famous goalie name in the league right now. So, and he plays for a very popular team in LAFC. So I guess it makes sense that they're going to want him represented in the All-Star game.
Honestly,
they're trying to bring eyes.
Dude, I think Nancy is just a little salty that Drake blocked Cucho's shot. And that's why he didn't pick him, because I'm looking at it right here. One guy, the guy from FC Dallas, was voted in. The other 2 guys, Berkey and Lloris, were chosen by Wilfried Nancy. So Drake was snubbed. Wilfried, you're salty, bro. That's just what happens when you come to Fort Lauderdale. coaches just go home salty.
I like what you're saying, but I don't think Drake played good enough to be an all. Last year for sure. This year, he's played better recently, but I don't think he's had an all-star type of year. But I have another question for you. Do you like the whole all-star game concept? Because other leagues don't do it around the world. This is a very American thing. Now, because I know the way soccer works around the world, I don't think it's necessary. I don't. But because they want to do the whole American thing, I get it. You wouldn't be interested in seeing La Liga All-Stars versus the EPL All-Stars or something like that?
Absolutely not.
I think that would be really cool.
Absolutely not. I mean, the best soccer, the best football that you see it in Champions, you see it in the Europa League. I don't want to see, 18 guys who just randomly came together to play an absolutely meaningless game where people can get hurt, people are not going to take it serious. Like, dude, how boring is the NBA All-Star game? It used to be a lot more fun. The NBA All-Star game is boring. Nobody watches the MLB All-Star game. Maybe you watch the home run derby.
The home run derby, yeah.
If that. Nobody watches the NHL All-Star weekend anymore because they don't even know what they're doing. They have like 9 different teams now. I mean, I just think the All-Star thing, the Pro Bowl is a disaster too. Nobody watches that. The game doesn't matter. If you want people to watch and you want the game to matter, then do an East versus West, choose the best players, and the winning team gets home field advantage in the final. Why not?
The MLB did that, and then they had to get rid of it because people were complaining that it really wasn't fair to the team that either ended up with the best record and because of an All-Star game didn't get home field. Well, look, I agree to you to an extent. I do think it would be very entertaining if 10 years ago they would have had La Liga versus the EPL, and you would have seen Ronaldo lining up next to Messi and Suarez. I think that would have been really cool to watch. Now, I understand that it wouldn't have been taken very seriously and stuff like that, but I think it would have been a cool, just a cool thing to watch. I think it would have been entertaining. But I get it. In the football culture, it doesn't exist, and honestly, in most sports, it doesn't even work anymore.
I mean, it's essentially watching like these all-star games that they put together for charity now. I went to one that they had at Chase Stadium in December. Diego Godin played, Ronaldinho played, and other all-stars played. Even Chiqui Tapia played for like 10, 15 minutes. Infantino played 40 minutes. So, I mean, those are the games that you go to. If I'm going to pay 30, 40, I want to know what I'm going to see. And selling an all-star game where the players are not going to try. I mean, if Suarez goes in there, you think he's going to try his 100% in that game? No, it's a meaningless game. If he gets hurt, there goes his season, God forbid. So again,
so if he plays the one in a couple of weeks, you don't think he'll take it seriously?
No. I mean, he always takes everything seriously. Maybe he will, but I'm just saying the premise of the game is just it doesn't make any sense.
I'm with you. Look, I don't think it's died out. I used to enjoy the NBA All-Star game a lot when I was younger, but I think it was also played a little harder when I was younger also. And as they've gotten older and they've become more friendly, it's just become it's become boring. I don't watch it anymore. But you're right. The All-Star games, although it's a spectacle because you get to see so many stars on the field at the same time, it just isn't competitive. It's a money grab, I guess, at this point.
Oh, but that's not what the media sells you. That's the thing. The media sells you, oh my God, this big all-star game, you're gonna get Messi playing with Ricky Puig and with Suarez and with Busquets.
But it's a spectacle.
On the other side, you're gonna have maybe Chicharito,
Brandon
Ochoa, Brandon Vasquez, right? Some former MLS guys. Mm-hmm. Maybe you'll get Cade Cowell. Who knows? But who cares? Like
this is the issue.
Who's paying money to go see that? Like, I want to speak to that person.
I'm going to tell you where I think the drop-off is. If players cared about their league, it might be interesting. Because if I cared for the MLS, then I'd want to prove that we're better than La Liga. But I don't think they move around so much. They don't care. Like Messi doesn't, maybe because he has like money invested now in the MLS, but like nobody really cares about the MLS. They're trying to leave the MLS to go to Europe. Like they don't feel it in there. If they cared, I think it would be really cool to watch, but they don't care. So
I agree 100%. I mean, maybe the only person I know that's wanting to come back is Weston McKennie. And oof, I saw him last night, and boy, he looks like a little chipmunk, man. He looks like he's been eating nice this summer.
Well, somebody called it the Danny die yesterday when they were saying that that Neymar had gained weight. So shout out to whoever it was that was insulting me. But yeah, appreciate that. All right, real quick, let me give a shout out right here to my guy, Florida Man. What's going on, Florida Man? Appreciate you you joining us. Hope that everything is good and that you're feeling better, man. My thoughts are with you, brother. All right. So let's see. Now, before we get off to All-Star jerseys. What did you think about the All-Star jersey?
I mean, I'm starting to get dizzy just looking at it.
It's kind of funky, isn't it?
I mean, I understand they're going for a cool vibe, but I don't know, man. If you have 2 beers and you go to the game, you legit might see 24 players.
You know what, though? It reminds me of the goalie uniform that Higuita used to wear for Colombia. It looks
the old Adidas one?
Yes.
I have to look for a picture to give it to you.
So, yes. So it reminds me a little bit of that, but this one is just straight lines going down that are like wiggly all over. So I'm with you on the it's a little funky, but it does, for some reason, I saw it and it just brought back that memory of Higuita. And I was like, okay, maybe. All right. Well, speaking of kits.
I do like it better than last year's. I do like it better than last year's. I'll give them that. It is better than
I don't remember last year's. Last
year's was like that Target. It had the Target, and it was like the Superman kit or whatever, and it was like red and blue, and they went with the super like Marvel hero thing. You don't remember? It was awful.
No.
Anyways,
well, I do want to point out one thing. I do remember the soccer ball for it because it was like a Captain America ball, and I remember I bought it for my son for his once it came out because he was into Captain America. One thing I did notice about the All-Star is the MLS put up a picture of the rosters, right? And this is how they put it up. Now, for those of you that watch this show, know that Chris and I have an affinity for FIFA, and this is how we used to show our depth charts and our starting 11s. People thought that it was silly that we would reference FIFA so much. Now, it looks like the MLS is doing it also. Now, I am in no way saying that they got it from us, but I'm not saying it.
I mean, if I were you, I would probably, find myself an attorney. Looks like Donnie and his boys have been watching the Battered Herons. They might not have been originals, but somewhere around episode 120, I guarantee you Donnie and his boys started watching.
Yeah. All right. Mike V says the worst jersey he's ever seen since the space costume one of the teams is wearing this year. I don't know what space costume that a team is wearing this year, but he said that it's pretty bad.
There's a space costume. I haven't heard of it.
Yeah. So. And Esteban's the Higuita jersey that I'm referencing was from the World Cup in 1990. Okay. I don't remember from when it was. I just remember him wearing it.
I have it up, but I can't, for some reason, it doesn't allow me to bring it in.
Send it to me. Send it to me, and then I'll put it up.
Perfect.
All right. And then now we're talking about kits. So one thing I did want to bring up is that on July 16th, apparently the MLS will be dropping a new collection. Right. So last year, these third kits, they dropped after Leagues Cup. But it looks like this year they want to drop it before Leagues Cup because they probably want to use it during Leagues Cup. And it's been rumored and leaked over and over again. But I think we finally got a legit leak. And here it is. This is the legit leak, that it looks like everybody is saying that Inter Miami will be wearing. And I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on it. What do you think about the jersey here?
I like it, man. I like it. The only thing that's missing would be if they would take that ugly, 3-stripe Adidas and go back to the leaf.
The marijuana leaf?
Absolutely. If you throw that on there, I mean, I think that is probably the nicest jersey Inter Miami has had since their inception.
I agree.
Just in terms, I mean, it's slick, it's neat, It's simple. It's got nothing crazy, and it's got the beautiful Inter Miami crest there. It's missing the where's the anchor?
Well, that's where I was going to bring that up right now, and you led me right into it. For anybody that listens to this show on a regular basis, they know I hate sponsorships on jerseys. If I could buy every jersey without the ugly sponsorship, I would. And I think that's why this is going to be my new favorite jersey, or new favorite kit, may I say. I love that it does not have the stupid anchor. Give me Miami across the chest in the Vice City font. I love that. And I'm very happy with this. I am extremely happy. Now people are asking, this is Dolphins kit? Yes, this is the one that's supposedly inspired by the Dolphins. It's like a light teal with orange accents. It also has, I can't see it here in this picture, but supposedly somewhere, some people don't like it. Supposedly somewhere it has an old school MLS logo on it. And it's funny because I was talking to somebody that is a reporter from, I think it was from the Galaxy. He's a reporter from the Galaxy. He told me he was not a fan of the fact that they're giving Miami the old school logo on their kit. I told him I don't think it's a big deal. Like, he's like, yeah, but it should go to only the teams that were around for that logo. I mean, technically the Miami Fusion were around for that. So I don't know. I don't think it's that big a deal, and I like it. I like it.
I mean, I agree. I like it. It's kind of like how in NBA they throw like a Mitchell and Ness logo on the throwbacks. When they at least when you buy them, right? It kind of gives it that vibe. So it gives it the retro vibe, which, look, man, I know there's a lot of folks that might, talk crap about, Miami really didn't have a team. The Fusion weren't here long enough. But the roots, football roots in South Florida, not just Miami, go way back. And I know you've had some of those folks on talking about the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, and even, back further than that. So, I think it's a definite, a great addition to the jersey in terms of thinking back at Miami and South Florida's rich soccer history.
Well, I will be purchasing that without a doubt, 100%, because to me, that's going to be my new favorite kit. And the fact that it has no sponsor makes me like it even more. So, yeah, that's that. All right. And now, what was it? Oh, yeah, here we go. So I got the picture that you sent me. This is the Rene Higuita kit that came to mind when I saw the All-Star jersey. Now, definitely not the same, but the colors just gave me that vibe. So this is the All-Star, and this is so definitely not the same. But
not
this
the
one
same, but it's got like a similar color scheme, no?
Yeah. Yeah, look, I like it. And I've been actually looking for it on eBay, but every time I find it on eBay, they're either ridiculously priced or it's not my size. But I've been looking for this kit because it's one of my favorites. Higuita, my favorite goalie of all time, obviously. So, all right.
Well, how much are you looking to spend, Danny? Because I just found it, $100 on eBay.
100's not bad. What size?
Doesn't say right now. I can't find the size, but if I look down, let's see. What size? I don't know, but I'll get back to you after the show.
All right.
If it's large, I'll buy it for you. Don't worry, and don't worry about it.
All right. Well, let's see. So we were talking about the All-Star game. So Copa America ends July 14th. The All-Star game is July 24th. And I believe that Messi's first game back with Inter Miami will be July 27th, which is the first game of Leagues Cup against Puebla, whatever the hell they call it. All right. Now, Leagues Cup, I like Leagues Cup. People give me crap because I like Leagues Cup, but I like Leagues Cup because I hate the U.S. Open Cup. And a couple things about the Leagues Cup. I was out with my daughter, and we were looking for cleats for her birthday. And I ran across this right here. They are selling the official Leagues Cup ball at Dick's Sporting Goods. So for those League Cup lovers like myself, you can go ahead and buy yourself the Leagues Cup ball at Dick's Sporting Goods. I like the Leagues Cup. That's just me. But I much rather that than the Open Cup. I don't think I've ever asked you, where do you stand on the Leagues Cup versus the Open Cup?
I like both, honestly. I like the history and the fact that teams that don't get to play the MLS teams every day get to play them in the Open Cup format style.
Why?
Because I think it's great, man. I honestly, I think it's fantastic for some of these big teams to travel to some of the smaller, stadiums sell out a 12,000 seat stadium. Teams that don't get to see some of these other players every now and then. So I think it's fantastic. But I
You're
also
so
like
weird, my guy. You're so weird.
Why?
You're like, I want the have and the have-nots. If you got a lot of money, F you. If you don't, you can suck forever. But you're like, yeah, but let's take this big team and let's help out these little 10,000 seat stadiums. What the hell?
Why not? Why not? Dude, you know how much money those if Inter Miami would have taken their starting 11 to Birmingham this year, they would have knocked those prices up to $500, $600, $700, and Birmingham would have made a lot of money. That's how they make their money. Now, Inter Miami doesn't go there. Now Atlanta United 2 goes there, and they're going to charge $10. Nobody's going to go watch them. So, dude, you got to help support the grassroots leagues. You got to help support the younger leagues, especially if some of these other teams are, in the MLS are making a lot of money. Absolutely, man. You got to share the wealth. But, dude, I love the Leagues Cup because for me, the Leagues Cup is like the Champions League in I guess North America, because the Champions Cup is an absolute disaster. That's not a real tournament. You can't play against teams that you're gonna beat 7 or 8-0. You can't have Canadian teams or Haitian teams that are playing third division. You just can't do that. So here you get all the Liga MX teams, all the MLS teams, and just have at it. Am I a fan of the format? Maybe not so much. But I do love the tournament.
I would like them to play in Mexico. And this year they changed it up a little bit where the top Liga MX teams aren't going to play in Mexico, but they got to choose where they were playing. So obviously a lot of them are choosing Texas and California because they have big supporters groups over there. So it's as close as they're going to get to a home field advantage. But I like Leagues Cup. I hate Open Cup. I don't want to see Inter Miami play against like in Charleston Battery or some crap like that. I really don't want to see that. Don't waste my TV time with that garbage. So I'm not into playing against minor league teams. Go ahead. Solana, is Messi getting a season-ending injury playing an Open Cup? Oh my God, I would be so fucking pissed if we lost Messi in an Open Cup game.
No,
in Birmingham, Alabama.
Look, man. I'll tell you this. I can understand why maybe some of the fan base doesn't want to play. It was probably because they were embarrassed 2 years in a row by Miami FC. Basically
they never lost to them.
They didn't, but Miami FC dominated both years, and they should have won that second year they played. They went to PKs, and Kamal Miller, made that last PK. I was at the game. It was cool, but dude, I mean, it was a great atmosphere to be there. Now, I do give it to the 15 Miami FC fans that were out there with their drum, banging their drum. For them, it was great. And Miami FC got to make a lot of money for both of those games that they're out there, because they did get probably 10 to 12,000 folks. Plus, it was nice not to have to drive an hour and a half. No.
Yeah, it was nice going to FIU for those games. 100%. That I will give you. But no, look, like I said, in pro sports, do you really want to see the Miami Heat play against, I don't know, the minor league team for the Chicago Bulls?
Yeah,
like, I would love garbage.
I'd love to see them play the Mad Ants. That would be amazing in like a preseason game.
You want to see any garbage?
Yeah, or the Rio Grande Valley Knights or whatever they're called. Absolutely, bro.
I would be okay if they expand the rosters to 30 men and they allow all the backups to play instead of the starters. Then I'm all for it. But if they don't expand the roster to 30, then no, absolutely not. I don't want any of my starters playing in that crap. So
yeah, just a quick question. So August 3rd is the second Leagues Cup game. They play Tigres. Tigres, I guess, has chosen to play at Energy Stadium in Texas, right? In Houston. I'm curious. They've been playing games for Copa America there. The field there is turf. And they've laid down the grass over the turf. Are they going to keep? I'm curious. Again, we keep going back to these turf questions, but it's the questions that we keep having to ask ourselves because of all the different types of venues that MLS tries to play in, and the fact that these venues are not set up for soccer. I'm curious. I would love to go out there and watch that game. I think it's going to be a hell of a game, and I'm going to look at the funds, see if I can get out there. But I don't want to go spend my money if these guys are going to go play on turf and I'm going to get, sprayed by beer all day, and Messi and Suarez aren't going to play. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I will tell you, it's going to be a fun. It's going to be a fun atmosphere because that stadium will be packed with the Tigres fans because that's probably the biggest fan base in the country for Liga MX's Tigres. So that should be fun. It's going to be a fun environment. It's going to be an entertaining game. So like you said, August 3rd. So July 27th and August 3rd, the first two games of Leagues Cup. All right, and I think we're winding down here. Let me see. Oh, Leagues Cup. On our Discord, we had a couple people talking about a new theme song for the Leagues Cup. Now, I was talking to you earlier about it. I like last year's more than anything because it brings me some nostalgia. Last year, I'm a Battered fan. I've had a horrible sports life. But last year, from July 21st to August 19th, which I believe is when the final was for Leagues Cup, that month was the most magical month I've ever had rooting for a team. Because from the Messi showing up, the surreal games, and then being there for the final to win it, I absolutely loved every moment of that. And the song that they used for Leagues Cup last year, it's always going to be with me because it's going to bring me that nostalgia. It brings me back to there. Now, this year's is a little different. I know you said you like this one more. Now, to avoid copyright infringement, I'm going to play about 6 seconds of each song just so everybody can get a feel, just in case you forgot last year's. And you can hear 6 seconds of it this year, and then I'll tell you what the name is afterwards, and then you can go ahead and play it. So here we go. Now, for those of you who forgot, that was last year's theme song. Every time I hear that song, I imagine Messi playing in Dallas and that comeback and all that other stuff. I love that song. That song brings me great memories. All right. So that's Tiki Taka Toko last year. And this year's is this one. That was this year's. Okay. It's definitely a little more upbeat, a little more party. I definitely like it, but I'm biased. I like last year's better. What about you, Solana?
It's got Miami vibe in it, Dan.
Yeah, for sure. The other one's definitely more Mexican, for sure.
It's got Estefan, man. Estefan is one of the producers on it.
Emilio
Estefan, not to be, confused with Emilio Estevez, the Mighty Duckman, but Emilio Estefan is the producer. You gotta love it, man. It's Miami. Mm-hmm. It's a Miami song. I love this one a lot better than last year's. I get you. It's nostalgic. It's nostalgic.
Yeah. It's always gonna connect with me.
But I hear this song at the club, and I'm thinking Messi to Suarez, to Robert Taylor goal. That's what I'm thinking. I'm not thinking. The other one is kind of more. I'm chilling on my balcony, maybe watching a game, soccer. This one's like thrown on at the club, and I can feel my boys touching the ball around.
For those. For those of you wondering what the name of the song was, it's called Nuestros Colores. It's the Leagues Cup anthem this year. So in case you guys want to hear that, you can go ahead and listen to that. I think that's about it. Let's talk. If you want, we could talk Copa America for the next 2 or 3 minutes because Colombia's game is about to start, and as the time gets closer, I get more nervous. So Copa America. Do you want to touch on last night's game? Estados Unidos versus Uruguay. The ref was atrocious. We both agree on that. We don't agree on the offside call. But other than that, I mean, the United States has more than the refs to blame for not being in the tournament anymore. That Panama game was a disaster. And, they need changes. I understand that the refs were horrible last night, but pointless to keep talking about them because they're not the problem. The problem starts at the top, all the way down to Greg Berhalter and the players' lack of conviction, right? They enjoy the fact that they have a nice coach that when they talk, they don't talk football. I need you guys to talk football. Solana, what did you think about last night's game, United States overall, and all the crap that you've heard today?
Yeah, obviously, I'm ecstatic. I don't think Uruguay played to the best of their abilities, especially in the first 15 minutes. I think after that, they kind of settled in, and USA didn't really get a chance to do much of anything other than 1 or 2 centers and a couple of set pieces. But look, overall, USA, this, I don't want to rant, but I think the American people were sold a lie by the media. The media has made
the golden generation.
But this is not it. But I'm talking about cycle after cycle. The media tries to make somebody their darling boy. And they've done that with Christian Pulisic. They've sold the American people a lie that Christian Pulisic is some kind of wonderkind, some kind of elite player when he's not. Yes, he's playing okay. He's playing great at AC Milan, but he is not elite. Well. He is not elite. Players, and I saw somebody tweet it out earlier that what this showed is that this generation's golden generation is just not good enough. It's not the golden generation. To me, 2002 was better. To me, Landon Donovan is a much better player than Christian Pulisic will ever be. To me, Clint Dempsey is a better player than Christian Pulisic will ever be. They might not have the talent that Christian had, but they're better players. Why? Because they have the huevos. Christian Pulisic and this generation does not have the huevos to play in the game today.
But from top to bottom, this is a more talented team that they've ever had. They've never had players that could go ahead and play in Europe from top to bottom.
But they don't play. They don't play in Europe. Like Pulisic plays. Tim Weah plays. Weston McKennie. He might
Musa
play.
plays.
But
McKennie plays.
Yeah, Musa plays in Spain. I think he plays for Valencia, right? Or was it Valencia or Sevilla? One of those two. But Musa plays. Yeah, but it's the goalie Matt Turner. Did you hear his interview
yesterday?
Doesn't
play. He doesn't play.
I mean, he's in Nottingham Forest. He doesn't play. Did you hear his interview yesterday? He was like, well, we got to go back and we got to fight harder, but we're proud of what we did. Dude, how can you be proud of that? You just got, you lost to Panama. You were just embarrassed on your own soil, and you're not crying about it. That's what I was most upset about. In terms of, if I'm an American fan, I would have wanted to see my entire team, all 20 players, crying on the floor, because that's the most embarrassing, and that is the most bottom point that they're ever going to get to in their lives. But they didn't feel that way.
I think that starts with Berhalter. Like, for them to say, like, oh, I enjoy just talking life with him. Like, no. Like, what was it? Cardi Lloyd, which I know she got a lot of crap because she brought up Pulisic's name as like a up-and-comer or whatever. Yeah, she misspoke. Some of you guys got to understand. Sometimes when you talk in front of a mic, sometimes you misspeak. But regardless, she said it. It was dumb. But she did say something that was true yesterday. The women's team has won a lot of championships. And she said, we've done it with coaches that we hate.
Yeah,
and she's not saying you need to hate your coach.
But you can't compare women's and men's. You can't compare the women's game and the men's game.
That's fine, but I'm talking about what she said. She said that she hated her coaches. And I'm not saying that you need to hate your coach, but you can't be all friendly with your coach either. This guy commands no respect.
Oh, no, 100%.
Timothy Weah got that red card, and he just chilling. Like, nothing happened.
I guarantee you Berhalter would prefer to get a question about sneakers, after yesterday's press conference, than a question about the game. And that's
Could you imagine Mourinho with this team? Mourinho would have ripped everybody a new one.
Dude, I mean, absolutely. Although, in my honest opinion, the perfect coach out there for this team, and I don't think he'll take the job. I don't think there's any amount of money to convince him to take the job, would be Jurgen Klopp. In terms of what he demands from his players, the style of football that he plays, I think it matches very, very well with this generation of footballers that the United States has. But I don't think there's any amount of money that you're going to convince Klopp to come and coach, these guys.
No, I don't think so either.
There's no passion. There's just no passion, dude. There's just no passion.
Look, Stancy says here, you need to respect the coach and maybe be a little uncomfortable. Yeah, man. Like, look, I don't want the coach to be, make the players unhappy either. But you got to have some respect. There has to be a fine line there, like where you respect the coach and you know that he's going to rip you a new one if you F up. And, like, I feel like they feel way too comfortable. And to me, that's what it feels like. Maybe I'm wrong, but I look, it's just an embarrassment, honestly. Here, they're already playing the national anthem for the game. I missed it. Damn it. All right. But now that it's over, predictions for tonight's game, Colombia-Brazil.
I said Colombia 2-1. That's what I think. I think Colombia is playing better. They're gonna break Brazil's lines. Their defense is their weakest point, and I think Colombia has what it takes to win the group.
I agree, and I constantly say that Alisson is the best goalie in the world, but man, I hope that he looks like shit today.
He has not looked good. He has not looked good over the last month or so. So there's if there ever was a chance, today's your shot, man. That's all I'm saying. Today is your shot. We took our shot at them in October and we got it. I hope you guys get yours today.
We beat them. What was it that we beat them? We beat them not too long ago in Brazil. But here we go. A lot of people saying 3-2, 3-1. I'm ready to go watch this game. I hate watching these games though because I enjoy it, but then I get so stressed out at the same time. But regardless, all right. Any final words there, Solano?
No, sir. Let's get back tomorrow. Let's get on tomorrow for a W, huh?
Yeah. We'll be on tomorrow for the post game after the Charlotte game. And I saw somebody in the comments saying there's a lot of yellow in the stadium. Don't know if it's Colombia, Brazil. The majority of that is Colombia. We are everywhere.
Y'all travel, bro. Y'all travel. Mad respect. Respect.
All right. So if you are listening on audio, we appreciate you listening all the way to the end. Please leave us 5-star comment, review, all that good stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching all the way to the end. Please like, subscribe, share, tell your friends. And as always, for those of you in the chat, we appreciate you hanging out with us for the last probably more than 47 minutes because of the mess with Chris earlier. But regardless, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Hope you guys enjoy this game coming up. I know I won't because I don't enjoy these things. But regardless, hopefully Colombia wins. And we're feeling pretty good. And we'll be talking about it tomorrow. So until the next one, have a good one.
Waddle shots all around.